Excuse me. My voice is escaping me. Anyway, so you know what? I was thinking I should do that la 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 la. I'm such Anyway, so who am I? I am a master transformation coach, but I also have a background in medical assisting and school of hard knocks living right here. And so I had a big aha when my mom passed away back in 2013 of like, oh my God, if I don't do something different, that's going to be me. And so I set out on this journey of curiosity of like, well, what creates disease and how do you overcome trauma? What the heck is codependency? How did that happen? And um, I'm also a certified health and life coach. So I kind of started putting all that together in my own journey. And I was doing a lot of journaling and a lot of poetry was flowing out of me. And what I call my goddess downloads and empowered, inspired quotes. And I was like, you know what? I think I have an ebook here. So I start to go edit an ebook and it turned into like this big, huge manuscript. I'm like, I think I need an editor. And that's where I found you. And so what that allowed me to do was to see the bigger picture, the big aha of why I'd went through everything had went through in my life and why I've always had this burning passion to be a teacher. Like one of my favorite games with my brothers growing up was school time. And I would get out the crayons and the little workbooks and I would be like, okay, it's time to learn. And so this has always been something that has been a sole purpose for me as far as like teaching, connecting, and supporting. And so all of these experiences I had all accumulated into, okay, well, I have a medical background, I have the health and life background, and then I went further and got the neurolinguistic programming or practitioner certification, which allows you to go into the beliefs and identity, which was huge. And that's where I literally came unraveled at the seams myself because I had never understood why I was doing the things I was doing, why I was so terrified to be alone. And it came down to I was afraid to be alone because as a child, being alone meant not being safe, it meant not being loved, and it meant not being a part of. And so my whole life was founded and created from this fear of being alone. And I would stay where I shouldn't be in relationships, either with family and loved or partners, romantic partners, way beyond the expiration date because I was so terrified of being alone. And so as I was writing this book, it was the 2 years in the fallout of my separation and subsequent divorce and my first time of being alone in my life. And we always have this like awareness of things are happening, but are they happening to us or for us, right? And that big question for me was, why does this keep happening to me? Where's the pattern? How can I interrupt this pattern? Because I really don't want to go through this anymore. I was at the point in my life where, you know what, being alone is scary and it's really like can have its moments where I was in the past feeling lonely, but I started seeing the safety in the silence and I started to surrender to that. And as I surrendered to that, this book became even more of this like an extension of me. And so the namaste away was really kind of like a play on words, like, nah, I'm just gonna stay away from the ex and from the toxic beliefs and the toxic behaviors and just really start to love myself. And I had to overcome my own demons with loving myself, being in gratitude for my body, not beating and tearing myself down anymore, because my whole life I have been told I'm X, Y, and Z, and I believed it. And along the journey, what I realized was I was always pointing fingers at everybody else for being abusive, but I was the worst. I was the most toxic person in that whole bubble of existence. And it really was this big moment of like, oh crap, I'm the narcissist in the mirror too. Like, but then I started being really curious about all of society is struggling with some kind of identity, um, not problem, but just awareness of like who are they and what are they here to do and how can I be happy? How can I be love? How can I thrive? How can I stop surviving? And so that's when I realized in order to stop surviving, I needed to stop telling the old story. I needed to reset my groove. I needed to figure out how to find gratitude in where I was right now, not worrying about where I was or where I wanted to be, but right now. And that's when I started going, oh, my now is wow. And so as I started experiencing things come up to be healed, I'd be like, no, wait, the world is not ending. I'm safe. I am loved. It's okay. It's okay to be me. And really working through all of those impaired beliefs really set me into this new groove of I'm going to be love, I'm going to be now, and I'm going to be wow, and I'm going to thrive. Now, that wasn't without problems because I would still have moments where it was like, we call pop quizzes in the coaching world. It's like, pop quiz, did you learn what you've learned so far? Or do you want to play that game again? You want to take another spin at it? And I started to learn real quick who was in control of my world. And it was not the exterior outside people that I had thought. And as I started to love myself, everything changed around me compared to how I was in the past with all these selfies and the look at me, and validate my journey. I stopped. I literally started to pull back and I stopped posting selfies and I stopped being worried about the likes and all of that. And I just got into the moment and the now and found the gratitude there. And in that, I fell in love with myself even deeper. And as I fell even deeper in love with myself, I began to see what healthy boundaries meant. And that even when it's loved ones, when things aren't in alignment with us, it's okay that if they don't stay in our environment, they can just kind of vibrate away. But that doesn't mean that I'm a failure or they're a failure or any of that. It just means right time, right place. And it's all about energy, frequency, and vibration. And if I'm vibrating at this higher level of love, gratitude, joy, care for others, and just seeing beauty in everything, and others are stuck in that muck of tearing themselves down, pointing fingers at everybody else, still seeking validation, numbing out with drugs, alcohol, sex, pills, whatever it is that they can do to not feel that nastiness that they're feeling. Well, it would make sense that if vibrations are magnetic, that if that's not the same vibration, they're going to be repelled. And it's not a bad thing. And so we have a whole society right now. And I sat back and watched our whole world just kind of go with this whole virus thing. And then I was like, wow, families were falling apart left and right. And all of a sudden, I didn't feel so alone anymore. But I saw a bigger picture that needed to be addressed. Harmony for humanity is only possible when we're in alignment with ourselves. My harmony will radiate out with this beautiful melody or this like, oh, I don't want to hear it, based on where I'm at in my focus. Am I living in my heart feels of love and joy and gratitude? Or am I up here spinning the wheels out on trying to control everything and everyone in order to be happy, to feel safe, to feel a part of? No, the power was when I took it back and said, I am enough. Yes. I am loved. I am right where I'm supposed to be, worthy of everything that comes my way. And everything that comes my way comes with ease, joy, and glory, because I expect that what comes my way is only going to either help me see myself in a deeper level and refine, or see humanity on a deeper level and help, see the bigger picture of where I exist in it all. Yeah. And so it just became this like, there is no wrong. All the right turns, all the wrong turns, they all lead back to self, which is the beauty of life. The beauty of humanity is being human, which is the, here I wrote it down. It's being happy, unlimited, mindful, aligned, and in the now. And we're all that, even in our chaos. And so that love and forgiveness, incredible. So yeah. I keep interrupting you.
That's okay. I love how passionate you are about this and about your story and about helping others with it. And you just gave so much great information about the deep dive you had to do and all the things you realized. And I want to go back to the phrase you used where you said you were having a journey of, oh my God, I forget what it was now. But it was like a journey of, exploring a curiosity, journey of curiosity. And that's what you have to do when you're working on a book like this. You have to say, all right, I've got all these experiences. Let me see what I can figure out. How does this move? What is the actual path? Where is this leading me? Where am I at right now? Where do I want to be? Like all these great questions. And I love that you were able to do that. And you generated a book and just the most beautiful poetry out of this, this moment that you went through, the all the messy middle piece where you were
Oh
saying,
yeah.
all right, I've got to figure this out. And I love that you compiled it and got it into book form. So I think that's so important to recognize that journey of curiosity. And I did want to ask you about, you published it in January. And since then, obviously, you've been, exploring new ways of reaching your audience using the book. Can you talk a little bit about what you've been doing, some of the doors that's open, like what that's been like for you?
Yes. Well, one of the interesting things is right around the time the book published, Clubhouse became this real hot commodity thing. And it's like, have you got an invite? Get yours. I was like, what the heck is this? I'm like, and so I was like, I accepted, I downloaded the app, but there weren't any invitations. And so
Mhm.
I was like, so I just kind of let it go to the side and I was like, okay, well, let me, scroll off over here. And I did a couple podcast interviews, but again, it really wasn't, if it doesn't light me up, I just kind of go with that flow of, that's not where I'm supposed to be because I know where I'm supposed to be. I will be like super excited.
Mhm.
And so I kept hearing the word Clubhouse. It kept popping up in social media. And I knew that was my spirit guides guiding me to what they wanted me to focus on. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, another new app, blah. And then all I heard was like, it's all about the curiosity. Go get curious. You never know what you might find. And I was like, oh, okay. So um, at that time, this group that I was on Facebook, Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs, someone had put, they had a Clubhouse, like, what do you call those when you get like little modules? It was like this little course. It was like an e-course kind of thing
Okay.
of how to master Clubhouse. And I was like, all I knew is at that moment I saw that I was a big solid yes now. And I was like, okay, I will get my credit card. Okay. So I did, and it was the best thing I ever did because doing that allowed me to create a bio that is what they call a bankable bio. And it allows people to see who I am and what I do. And then it sends them off to my Instagram where all of the goodness of everything I've been doing is. So Clubhouse is just an app where it's a voice. And as a podcaster, I love talking. So it seemed, oh, okay, I love to talk. I love to connect. And what happened was I actually stumbled into my soul tribe. And in that soul tribe, I have now gotten connections. I forgot to tell you when we were talking beforehand, one of the people's rooms that I happened to pop in and go on stage was for sharing women's voice as she speaks. And so I got up there and I told my story of overcoming sexual abuse. And it was mic drop city. And everybody was just cheering and carrying on. And I was like, oh my God, like I think I might have actually found people that need what I have, because up until that point I had been sharing and it just would go ghost, like no one even saw my stuff. So it was getting discouraging and I was like, gosh, I know I didn't just go all through this for nothing. So on Clubhouse I found the confirmation that it wasn't for nothing and that I was needed. And so I started just going in rooms and reading poetry. And I was in that room and I read one of my poems and it just, it floored everyone. And the person that was running the room was like, oh my God, I want to do rooms with you. So we're working on collaboration for a room called Triumph from Trauma, or Trauma to Triumph.
Mhm.
So something like that. And several other connections with groups that have like domestic violence and sexual assault kind of places that wanted to connect with me to share my voice. And so I found even more information on who I am and what I'm here to do, and connected with someone that helped me get a bigger clarity. So coming out of that is going to be a 7-day challenge. It's 7 days to namaste. And that will be an invitation to illumination for what is holding you back and keeping you stuck, and how to get from where you're at to where you want to go. And that will launch into my new book, which is Aligned Self, Alchemizing Your Pain into Purpose. And it will open up the floor to the Aligned Self VIP workshop. And it's going to be, I'm not sure if I want to do 4-month intensive or 7-month, because there's a whole lot of information. Like, this was 2 years in the making. I can't imagine that I'm going to be able to, actually, it was more than 2 years, because I've been on my journey since 2013 was when I started the AHA, but I really started getting into it at the end of 2015. I started trying to lose weight, and then realizing I had thyroid issues, and just the big AHA of all of that. So anyway, I know I got sidetracked, but I had I had a bulk order come through for my books. Someone bought 10 of my books that they want to give out to other veterans. One of the followers in one of the rooms that I spoke in, that just happened to one night get this intuition hit of, you need to go in that room. Okay, okay, don't be so pushy. So I go in the room, and I'm just talking about just my experience with this other girl, and someone else pops in, and that woman actually was like, ah, and she ended up buying one of my books immediately after we got off of that call. And so I definitely can see how just being real, being authentic, being genuine. As an author, now I've put all of my goodness out there. Now I have to be courageous enough to let people have it and to see where I came from. And I think part of why I kind of pulled back at the beginning of the year was I had kind of lost my confidence in the loss of my family. And so in the fallout of that was finding myself again and spiraling back in and going, you have a whole book here on how to get like back in your groove. Like, so I'm like, oh, I need to take my own advice. So don't feel bad if you're listening and you're thinking about writing a book and you think you've got to have it all and you've got to be perfect. Nah, throw that out the window. That's your ego trying to keep you safe from being you. And here's the beauty of being you. When you're you, it's awesome. It can be a little scary, but it's also awesome. It's only scary if you listen to the ego, and the ego is going to say, but what if they say this, or what if this happens? I was at that point finally. I was like, you know what? My own children don't talk to me. If that isn't a big aha of, okay, well, I'm still alive and the world didn't end, so maybe it's not as bad as I thought it was. And if everything's happening for me, and we're all on these journeys, and they're learning, I'm learning, then it's all okay. And that's what I found in Clubhouse too, was a lot of people that are really, really seeking. They're seeking expansion, they're seeking knowledge and enlightenment, but they just don't know where to look anymore, because there's so many streams and so many conflicting like avenues. But it seems like what I found in Clubhouse was all of the people that are suiting up, showing up, and ready to serve. Whereas I think with like nothing bad about it, but the other social medias is more of like a scroll and but Clubhouse is, you're in, you're speaking, and you're on a stage, and you don't know who's in the audience. There's been people that have gotten capital investors, which is another thing I've been, seeking when I'm in there, is, making connections with people that know people that I can collaborate with more. And there was a couple singers that I found that I'm talking to, because a lot of the poetry I write can be turned into songs.
Right.
And that is definitely one of the things that I want to do, because you talked about that poetry and all the ick in the middle. That poetry actually started to be my lifesaver. So what I would do when I would be in a state of what I call being triggered by something happening outside, I would sit down, and with my intuition and my inner being, I would look at like what the topic is. Where am I at? What's this? And then I would just kind of flow with whatever words flowed through. And I would look at where I'm at with the ego, why I'm coming at it with the ego, what's going on here, and then just kind of sprinkling all the unconditional love from the heart feels, and
Mm.
seeing the gratitude and joy in it. And I started creating these really incredible poems, and I have so many more already lined up, ready to go for this next book. It's like they just started pouring out of me because I was like, okay, what next?
Yeah. Um, I love how that works because, you know, you're talking about like aligning with yourself and, you know, trusting your intuition and all of those things. And it's like the more you do that, the better it gets, the more the words flow and all of that good stuff. So I didn't want to take your whole day. I know you do have other stuff to do besides sit and chat with me. We've had one comment. So Kelly said, great advice on the Clubhouse stuff. I'm trying to get a grasp on it and to get it and to use it to my advantage. Thank you. So that was really awesome. Yeah, with Clubhouse, it's like you have to be really intentional. You
Yeah.
can't just, like you were saying, you can't just sit and scroll. You can't just go back and watch a video later. Like it's now or you miss it. It's, you know, so yeah. And Allison said, this is beautiful, Candice. I really connect with your journey. I'm on one myself and hope to write my book soon. Yay, Allison.
Yeah.
Allison's also one of my awesome editors. So hello. And she said, I have the Clubhouse app myself, but haven't explored it yet. So you've really got me excited to check it out.
Well,
Yeah.
definitely connect with me because I am linked in with a phenomenal tribes of people that are just, they're heart centered. They are really here to help elevate humanity from this muck and mess that we're in, to bring, just to bring harmony to everyone. So it really is just, it's incredible. And all the different modalities that have helped me heal. I actually connected with someone on there. She was a soul nomad. So she helps people uncover their soul's purpose. And I did a session with her, and oh my God, like Akashic Records reading, soul
Yeah.
retrieval, like all these ahas of what I was to come here and do was confirmed, of me being someone to connect. So that was another thing. I have 2 podcasts starting. I'm going to do Align Self as a podcast, and then Toll, which will be Tongue of Light and Love, which will be where I bring in all these other healers and interview them and talk about what they do and how they help. Because I want to really create a platform for people to be like, kind of like a smorgasbord, where they can just go to this buffet of all these healers and be like, oh, I need that today. Oh, I need that today.
Yeah.
And then in the groups that I create will be that where I bring in these experts and you will have access to them because they were an integral part of my journey. I don't think that without them, I would be where I'm at so quickly, because it was this rapid ascension from being just completely unaware of who I am and what I'm here to do, to this staying in curiosity and just each day showing up and suiting up and saying, what's my intention for today? And that's what the 7 days to Namaste will be. It will teach people what I taught myself on how to stay out of those old grooves and how to stay in the now. And I will use the 7 energy centers of the body,
Mhm.
with each one has a statement, whether it's I believe, I see, I speak, I am, I do, I feel. And so I will link people with their unique system to empower them. And I think it's going to be so much fun. I'm still kind of like, I'm looking at the board over here. I have a bunch of stuff wrote out. And so I'm just kind of figuring out how to set it all up. And, you know, someone's like, just do it. I'm like, no, I'm too type A personality. I'm not just going to randomly throw a bunch of content out there. I would get lost in it myself. So I'm just like, there's got to be a strategy. So that's what I'm working on right now. So I appreciate everyone's patience with me launching this, but definitely a lot of content new coming, and I'm excited. And I'm just excited to see everyone else's transformation
Yeah.
as they read this book. I've already had a couple people read through it and be like, oh my God, if you want a personal development book, this is your book. This is the gem. It really helps you illuminate the darkness. And I'm like, yes, that's what I wanted it to
Yeah.
do. So yay. So
Awesome.
success. So self
Mission
high five.
accomplished. Yeah, I love all the stuff that is coming from this. It's like it just opened the floodgates and all these wonderful things have come out. So I'm really excited for you. When we wrap up, you'll have to put the links below for your book, for your website. If you have the challenge link ready, post that too. And I did want to say we've had a couple other comments. Allison said, I can't wait to follow your work and connect with you. Thank you for your encouragement and for showing up in authenticity. So thanks, Allison.
Thanks, Allison.
And got some compliments on my hair and earrings. So thank you, ladies.
Yeah, loving that one.
Thank you. Yeah, I did want to say anybody who comments, asks questions, you get your names in the hat for a fabulous author prize. So make sure you do that. If you're watching the replay, you can hop on and ask your questions, pick our brains. We will comment. So I just want to wrap this up. We're still getting comments, but they're compliments from me, so I'm not going to read them out loud. So I just want to wrap this up. So Candice, I know you had such a journey, such a journey of curiosity in writing this book and everything. So if you were talking to somebody who's thinking about a book, what kind of advice would you give them to start out?
Well, don't do like I did and overwhelm you and your editors with like this mismatch of just, here it is. And then I kept adding to it. So just I think what I'm going to do with this one is something different. I've already kind of got a format, but I would definitely say, talk to Corey and have her help you so that you don't make it harder on yourself, because it was really stressful as it is. And I made it even more stressful by adding more, and it didn't get launched before Christmas like I wanted because I was just all over the place. So the only other thing I would say is just speak your truth, because your truth is going to land on someone else's lap, and it's going to be like this big weight lifted off their shoulders, because now they're going to feel seen, they're going to feel heard, and they're not going to feel alone. And for someone that's overcome suicide, that's big, because that's what kept me pushing forward. On those days when I felt like I didn't belong, those people that had landed on my lap before gave me that hope that, okay, well, it may be hard now, but it's not always going to be this hard. And this is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And so write the book and give it to Corey. And just trust that if you have it in you to write a book, that is your inner self screaming at you to step into your soul's purpose. And the more you push against it, it's just longer it's going to be for you to get to that dream life. You know, I now have the freedom to just be me and to be a writer and to not focus on, oh, I need to be like that coach or this coach. No, I'm a coach that writes poetry and travels and explores nature and shows others how to do that. There's nothing wrong with that. So, yeah.
Wonderful advice. And thank you so much for joining us today. Again, if you have comments or questions, put them in the comments. We're happy to answer them. Candice is going to put her book link. Again, that's Namaste Away and Thrive. And yes, it is a fantastic self-development book. So make sure you grab that. Yeah, and comments, questions, if you're watching replay, go ahead and put them down. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.